Dwan is now the one who's tilted.
You're just not going to miss every open-ended, right?
He looks really upset with himself.
I know about bears.
I have clubs. You do?
No, Tom did not have clubs.
Tom had a queen.
Hence the that man did not have clubs. Make it 40.
Okay. Ryan said 40. 3,000.
Let's see, how many buttons on?
Sashimi is trying to get a marker here, bumps it way up.
We are taking a look at a wild hand from 200, 400, No Limit Texas Hold'em at Hustler Casino Live. In this hand, Tom Dwan playing very deep stacked, limps in the hijack with Queen 8 of spades. Sashimi on the button decides to try to punish him. She makes it 3,000 with 9-3 of clubs out of a roughly 150 big blind stack. Ryan Feldman in the big blind decides to call with 8-5 of hearts. That's probably a little bit loose. And then Tom Dwan calls as well. Let's go to the flop.
Dwan with the best of it.
Flop comes Queen of Hearts, 10 of clubs, 7 of spades. And all three players check. This is a spot where Ryan should check the vast majority of the time, as should Tom. And in this situation, multi-way, Sashimi has to be careful to not continuation bet too often, because, especially on boards that contain lots of high and middle cards, it's really, really, really easy for both Ryan and Tom to have either some sort of pair or draw. And as you see, on the flop in this situation, Sashimi has only a whopping 8% equity, which means she's going to need some help. Or she's going to have to run a big triple barrel bluff. And you don't really want to be triple barrel bluffing far too often into multiple opponents. If she had a slightly better hand, like perhaps King 8 of clubs for an overcard with backdoor straight draw and backdoor flush draw, then I think betting with that junky draw would make more sense. But I don't think 9-3 of clubs is quite good enough, because if you do pair your 9, there's certainly no guarantee you're good. And you have a pretty junky backdoor straight draw. So I don't think she needs to go for the bluff in this spot. That said, if you are playing a loose, splashy game, kind of like on Hustler Casino Live, where you expect the limpers and the players in the blinds to call raises quite often with all sorts of medium strength hands, you have to be careful raising pre-flop over limps with stuff like 9-3 of clubs, because you're usually just not going to flop all that well. So be careful raising over limps too aggressively, especially if they're going to be limping and then calling with reasonable hands. Let's go to the turn.
Sashimi does not c-bet, but turns some equity. Ryan turns a straight draw as well. And there's a straight draw for Tom out there. So everybody has a little something to like here.
The turn is the 6 of clubs. Ryan now has an open-ended straight draw. Not a particularly good one. Tom still has top pair and a gut shot, and Sashimi now has a gut shot with a flush draw. Ryan decides to check. Tom Dwan goes for value, 4,800 with his top pair. Sashimi opts to call, which I think is perfectly reasonable. This is a spot where it's quite easy for either of her opponents to have very strong hands. So I don't think she needs to raise, because if she does get raised and then faces a re-raise, it is miserably bad. And she's getting pretty good immediate pot odds just to call and try to spike the flush or the straight. So I like her call. Let's see what Ryan does.
Raise 14.
Raise from Ryan. Thinks that Sashimi in particular is capped here. Problem is, Dwan can have anything here. Just checking to the pre-flop raiser on the flop.
Ryan goes for a very, very, very tricky small raise. Notice he only has 37,000 in his stack, and he opts to put in 14,000, a little bit less than half of his stack. It's a pretty bizarre play. I mean, it looks super duper strong if, Ryan is a very, very straightforward face-up player. Clearly he's not, though, because he's sitting here with a junky straight draw. Cool spot. Tom getting really good odds with the top pair and the gut shot. I think he has to call, which is what he does. Sashimi definitely needs to call with her gut shot and flush draw, because if she gets there, she's very likely going to be good. Let's go to the river.
Both players still in there. And Dwan's pair of queens is still good. And Ryan has less than half pot behind. He's going to try this.
25.
The river is the 5 of spades, giving Ryan a pair, but he doesn't care. He is all in for only half pot. And it turns out Ryan actually just got stacked and reloaded very recently at this table. So what I want to know before we see what his opponents do is, do you feel like after you get stacked, you are more or less inclined to run a big bluff like this? And what do you think your opponents are inclined to do? Take a second, think about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll be right back with mine. Click the like and subscribe button while you're down there, please.
23,000.
25.
23.
Oh, you're right. 23, sorry.
23, yeah.
16, 22, 23.
And can he get Tom Dwan to fold top pair here?
I think in general, most players who are usually tight and aggressive and not too out of line are way less inclined to bluff right after getting stacked. That said, players who are usually overly loose and aggressive, I think they're way more inclined to bluff after getting stacked. That said, it is very player dependent, and if you play with your specific opponents over and over again on a regular basis, you will definitely figure out which of your opponents are more or less inclined to bluff after getting stacked, and that can allow you to make massive adjustments, because if you know they're very inclined to bluff on the next hand or two, make a pair and don't fold. That said, if they're way less inclined to bluff because they don't want to get stacked on back-to-back hands, you can start folding out pretty good hands, like top pair. Ryan this time rips it in. Let's see what Tom and Sashimi do. Sashimi's going to fold, of course.
Getting this price. Feels like the kind of spot where no one bluffs, but Ryan is such a psycho, and Dwan is getting a great price. Ryan also just got stacked, which might make him more likely to bluff than normal here. Dwan does also have to worry about Sashimi behind. She shouldn't have much, but occasionally she'll have turned or rivered something that can beat Dwan. Weird spot here for Dwan, but even before seeing the cards, I think you could make a pretty good argument for calling.
Hopefully there's some good commentating going on right now.
Well, Dwan gets out of the way, and Ryan gets this through.
Nice hand.
Wild bluff from Ryan Feldman, gets through. And Dwan is now the one who's tilted.
You're just not going to miss each every open-ended, right?
Oh, bears. Bears.
And didn't you have open-ended there?
Yeah, bears.
He looks really upset with himself.
Clubs.
I know about bears.
I have gloves. You do?
No, Tom did not have clubs.
Tom had a queen.
Hence the that man did not have clubs.
Tom folds as the Sashimi. Ryan shows him the bad news, and Tom does not look too happy about it.